All right. Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, this is going to be a bonus general message. And these are the ones that I always start out with an anecdote, usually something pertaining to my dog. And you notice I've changed the backdrop. I wanted something lighter and brighter. But interestingly enough, I'm starting out this storyline with a nightmare that I had last night about my dog. And it was, well, I won't go into all of the stupid details other than just to say he had been taken from me and I was on a quest to go find my dog. And it was, oh my gosh, I yelled and yelled his name in my mind so much that in my dream I was like, I'm losing my voice. My voice is hoarse. And then I finally did find him. And he was in a good place, actually. He was playing with wolves and chickens. But I will just say this. We'll keep that in mind. Maybe a character is having a fear of losing something important. We have a Queen of Wands. This Queen of Wands is almost like melting under the stress and the pressure. Her like crown of roses seems to be turning into, maybe we could say it's icicles, but I think that it looks like it's melting. So perhaps someone who really had a strong desire for something, they may be sensing that, oh, I feel like I'm losing this. A King of Cups. Interestingly enough, they're both still in the upright, but this King of Cups, they seem to be sending information up and outward like antenna. So hold on. This is an interesting way to begin. If the King of Cups is sending energy upward and outward, we have a Four of Cups. Four of Cups is an illusion, a missed opportunity, a regret. We have Page of Cups in the reverse, and we have a Queen of Cups. Okay, so forgive me, but we have the story that we have. Okay. And you notice that this Queen of Cups is not exactly the most lovely, delicate of images. Instead, it's almost like kind of has a skull imagery. And I always associate skulls with getting down to the bare bones of something, but also obviously things from the past, memories in particular of the past, since we're centering around the brain, the skull. If this King of Cups is actually sending out emotions of, I should have been with that Queen of Cups. I wish I had. I wish I had. I don't know how to apologize. I don't know how to start fresh with her, but I'm thinking of her. This is my true mate, my true match. Unfortunately, for this, and please remember these are fictional stories, I am not a psychic, but a wonderful Queen of Wands is kind of like, oh, they're thinking of somebody other than me. So, what is the relationship that she has to this King of Cups? What is the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups interaction here? We've got an Eight of Wands sideways. Okay, so they're not talking about the elephant in the room, but they are energetically. They're at one point they may have been in a union. Heck, these two could have been married, and it almost seems like it's there's this unspoken thing where there's an acknowledgement by both parties that this thing is melting away. We haven't really spoken about it yet, but the queen knows that the king is thinking of a queen that is their true pair. So why was the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups ever? We'll assume that they were interwoven in some capacity. Seven of Pentacles, they were interwoven for a long time. This could have been a pre-existing, long-standing connection between two individuals. And with that in mind, although they haven't spoken about it, it's like they both kind of know that maybe they're Three of Swords. I just think nobody's happy. I don't think any of them are getting what they want. Tell me about just the Queen of Wands, because I don't want her to be sad. We have the World in the reverse. We also have a Six of Pentacles in the reverse. We have the Ace of Swords in the reverse. She has not been getting what she deserved, but she still didn't want to let it go and have a new beginning. Maybe she didn't want to start over, but we see her in this vibe of, I don't really know what I want. I just didn't want things to change, but I also know that I don't want to give to this. So it's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't want this. I don't want to give to this, but I also don't want it to go, which is not typical for a Queen of Wands. Wait a second. What do the Queen of Wands want from the King? The Emperor and the Knight of Wands. This is an interesting thing because I said, what did they want from that King of Cups? And they're like, well, I wanted them to be my emperor. But it's almost like they said, I wanted them to be my emperor, but if they were, going to play around on the side, that would be fine. It's not usually the way a Queen of Wands operates. So that's a confusing message to me. Queen of Wands, let's just talk about her for just a minute. Him, her, doesn't matter. I don't read for genders. We've got the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, so she is of two minds. We've got the Ten of Cups. We've got the Ace of Cups. There's something here about, you know what I think this is? I think that this Queen of Wands is, she juggles things on her own side. She's found a way to be happy and make her own self happy even within this connection. So to her, it's like, well, let's just not change anything. Let's stay in some commitment, but we'll both do our own thing on the side. And then it's kind of like the best of both worlds. I'm fairly satisfied because I get to do my own thing, and that makes me really happy. Okay, so interestingly enough, this that almost comes across as what I would consider like, wow, that couldn't be very satisfying, but who am I to say, right? I'm just the narrator of a fictional story, and our fictional characters get to display whatever traits they want to display. Here's what I would say, though. This Queen of Wands, maybe she is even quite in love with her own self, and so there's a lot of satisfaction that she has from maybe this person that she's been with. This king has been the emperor, where it's like they made plenty of money. She's been able to do kind of what she wanted. That's made her happy. She doesn't really care what happens so long as her balance is not upset, because basically a Queen of Wands says, I'm going to get what I want. Well, this Queen of Wands may have wanted the stability on one hand, and maybe she didn't even want like a loving or physical connection, because what satisfies her instead is, oh yeah, I have the security and I get to go do my own thing, and I don't see why they can't just remain my emperor, but they can go do their own thing on the side too. I don't care. Go flirt, have as many romances outside of this as you want, but as long as you give me the stability that I want, and we have this, and maybe this is about image. We do see this lion. I mean, it's weird because she may like being seen or like being known as this person's partner because they come across as this king, maybe this, as this emperor who wears a crown and stuff. Maybe this King of Cups actually has like a position of authority or something, and they like that. They like the prestige, perhaps. But she doesn't really want to sever this connection because she's getting everything she wants out of it. However, she knows that this situation is melting because she feels, even though they haven't spoken about it, she feels this king thinking heavily about their Queen of Cups. So now let's turn our attention, I have a feeling it's going to be a long one. Let's turn our attention to the king next. All right, I want to stay with this deck for just a little bit. I don't usually want to talk about different characters because I wanted to give them a chance to see all the cards, but right now I say keep it. Ten of Wands in the reverse. This has been a burden they have never gotten over. So somehow, some way, although this king/emperor character has remained in a connection with the Queen of Wands, when it comes to this King of Cups thinking about their Queen of Cups, the Queen of Cups is the person that they feel tremendous regret over, that they know who this person was to them. That's their true match. They have tons of regret, but they've never apologized, and they don't really know how, or at least that's the way I'm going to interpret until we see something different. This has been a heavy burden on their mind. That Ten of Wands in the reverse is they've never let go of this. Never. And it's interesting because I feel like she dominates. You notice how it's kind of like this funky looking tree of life, but we have this image of like a feminine, but without really a face here. And then we see these, her arms produce these two different branches of the tree of life, but the tree of life looks so unstable until her. It almost feels like this person, this king, has viewed her as someone that the memory of her is a stable memory in their mind. It's something that matters a great deal to them. However, the choices that they could have made with her, they didn't. Instead, we have no head. And then that kind of makes a little bit more sense why we have this bizarre, the head sitting on top of kind of like a goblet here, but not even with lips. I feel like there was not conversation. There was somehow they had an opportunity to build with her and they knew it and they knew it. And then it's like, instead of, really speaking and making this work, it's as if they were of split minds about something. This has bothered them ever since. This also feels like they just cut off, especially conversation. I'm wondering if she was the last person to have said anything and they never responded. Um, Tell me more about this King of Cups. So they have had regrets that have never lifted. But we have a Nine of Cups and we also have the Devil. For whatever reason, this king was in some very toxic energy where they were super indulgent, super, super self indulgent. That or whomever they dealt with was super indulgent and they knew how toxic it was. Tell me more about this. Nine of Cups is just, were they indulgent when they tried to get with her? And is that the whole point? They knew that they weren't going to offer her anything. They knew they weren't going to offer this queen anything, but they wanted so much to be with her. We kind of see like a lover's embrace here, a very disjointed imagery coming up from the skull. There's lots of like, and here the devil is emerging from the skull as well. A lot of skull stuff when we're talking about the Queen of Cups. So to me, this is starting to look like they knew right out of the gate, I'm not actually going to offer this Queen of Cups anything, but selfishly, I want this. This is my wish fulfillment, so I'm going to indulge anyway. It's like they knew how this was going to end. They knew what they weren't going to offer right out of the gate, but they wanted her. Death card. Okay. Once again, the skull. This was over before it started because they already knew in order to be with her, I'd have to change everything. But instead, they started something that they knew it was self-indulgent. It was super toxic for them to behave this way, and they knew it was going to be over. Now, did they understand, though, that they were going to wind up having, because I think they knew right out of the gate they weren't going to be leaving behind that Queen of Wands. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say anything else about that right now. Were they surprised at all that this Queen of Cups hasn't left their mind? Five of Wands, Three of Cups. No, they've carried on this memory like a torch in their mind of this Queen of Cups all this time. They think about her probably 5 times a day, if not more. They think about this reunion. They live in this mental pretense of, I'm going to be back with her someday. I'm going to be able to be with her again. Now, the thing I don't like is it's always with a Three of Cups. They think about all the time, how could I get back with her? How could I still connect to her? How could I still be with her? But I don't see them like coming forth without that third energy still surrounding them. So for whatever reason, it wasn't even on their mind that they could perhaps sever a connection and give wholly to the Queen of Cups. It was always like they've been trying to figure out, and you notice that we've got the owl up here that should be denoting wisdom, but it's like they tried to think and think and think through problems about how can I still have my Queen of Cups. I live in this idea of still reuniting with her, being with her. I want that. I want that. I want that. How can I do this? I'm still going to do this, which is so contradictory because they knew they did something super toxic and indulgent in getting with her, knowing they weren't going to offer her anything, knowing that wasn't okay, knowing that everything would have to change for them to really be with her, but also knowing it probably wasn't going to. So instead, it was going to end with her. But it's like they had to experience loving her just at one point in their life. But then they live in this idea of, if only I could figure out how to be with her and still be with the Queen. Why do they still need to be with that Queen of Wands? Why is that? They still need to or want to be with the Queen of Wands. Ace of Wands. Well, there's some kind of desire, some kind of passion here. Creative energy. I mean, that can sometimes denote anger also, though. The Moon and the Fool. There's something here that's a very foolish fool and kind of a horrible, horrible, scary clown. You know what I'm going to say? What the Queen of Wands wants, the Queen of Wands gets. And in their mind, they may think that she's unpredictable. They may know that they're dealing with someone who is more about, even when we talked about the Queen of Wands, she was of two minds. She wanted things her way. She was content with the way things were. She doesn't want things to change. She's going to have it her way. There could be an element of things could get real ugly if they chose to take a leap away. And that's like a hidden, they sense that, they know that. There is, you notice there's a hand here grabbing onto something because we see fingers curled. And interestingly enough, it's like fingers that are curled the wrong direction. So there's this element of, I almost feel like they're saying, well, I can't get away from the Queen of Wands because what they want, they get. And they'll hold on to me and even do the unexpected to do it. And it's like I've seen these traits, even though they haven't fully displayed it. It feels like they're... I hate stories like this because I'm like, oh, please. Oh, please. They're acting, they're making this a huge drama, in my opinion. But I couldn't possibly leave because, to do the adult thing and sever a connection and say, you know what, this isn't working out. I really want to be happy and go someplace else. They're like, no, I couldn't possibly, because I believe that this could be, somebody could be really upset. I could see an ugly side of them. I would just say that looks a little dramatic to me. Like this person is making gigantic excuses is my impression, but okay, whatever. Give me one more on that. Make me see it different. Six of Wands. See, I think this is a little bit more of it. They too have a reason that being in this power couple or something gives them accolades. Maybe it's just because like, oh yes, we're such a successful couple. We've been together so long. But the elements of them being a couple, like the emotional bond, isn't there. But I don't think they're being honest with themselves about, although maybe it's not her that they worry about, like, oh gosh, if we tried to sever connections and part ways, then it would be a really big, could be an ugly mess because of her. Maybe they're saying it would be a, scandal in the face of the community or something because nobody knows that this is the way we operate, so they'd be shocked and stunned to see us going in a different direction, and then I'd feel foolish, I'd feel like a clown, like everyone would know that I hadn't had a happy relationship. If their image matters that much to them, then I'm having a hard time understanding how they could say that, but my Queen of Cups, that's my perfect match, because I don't know how somebody has an image that's so important, but then they also supposedly love this Queen of Cups so much. I guess I'm struggling to understand that. Help me understand that better, because I don't see a whole lot of warmth here. The Magician, the Perspective, and the Nine of Cups. Well, I'm not going to probably be able to comprehend it because this literally says I got to pull further back and imagine somebody who thinks that they should always manifest the golden egg. This is somebody, I'm going to say that this king, I know I'm going to describe them in what I consider to be an unfavorable light, but this king is supposed to be golden. It's supposed to be super, they may have this illusion or this grandiose persona that maybe they do actually come from tons of affluency, tons of money, tons of this, tons of that. And they're always supposed to be manifesting more. And part of their manifestation of grandiose stuff is, the way they live their lives. It always has to be, there's all this pressure to be perfect in the eyes of their society or whatever it may be. I don't know. This still, I'm struggling with this one. We're going to take this to a part 2 because we didn't even get to the Queen of Cups yet. The free link will be in the description box to go to part 2. I'll see you guys there. Thanks for giving this a thumbs up and subscribing.